Hey, it's Mark in the minivan. Good morning. Pearl is here. Yes, Pearl. I wanted to clarify some, Starbucks, by the way, in here. I wanted to clarify some of the comments I made on Skullsessions, Bob Nalbandian's great podcast, which is back, and I'm really enjoying listening to it. I was a guest on one of the most recent episodes. Go check it out. It's a fun listen. And I said, Chris Aiken congratulated me for saying this, and I just want to clarify it, and Bob did too. The New York music scene. When I say New York, New York's a big state. You got Lake Placid, Buffalo, Albany, Syracuse, Rochester. It's a massive state. Okay, and New York City is a massive city. You got Staten Island, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Manhattan. And in the city, there's a small section, the East Village, I think it's now kind of boiled over to Williamsburg, Brooklyn, where people are too cool for school. And, when I was in bands playing, I played the Continental once a month for like 10 years. I played CBGB's dozens of times. Well, about a dozen times. I played... maybe a little less than a dozen times. I played the Spiral, Luna Lounge, all those, Webster Hall. I worked at Webster Hall, all those places. And the thing that I saw in the New York music scene was that heavy metal, grunge, even alternative, like cool alternative, like Weezer and stuff like that, it just was not accepted. Especially, I'm talking in the 90s, in that scene. It's something I struggled a lot with, because I was into the metal, I was into the grunge, and I bring a lot of people to the clubs, but still I wasn't considered the cool band. Yet, I'd go across the river to New Jersey and play, and we were cool. Or, people were writing me from Europe telling me how great my music was. I'm not saying it was great. I'm just saying this is what happened. But there was always this resistance to anything that wasn't hipster cool in the New York music scene, and it was so not reflective of the rest of the country. And I believe we see this with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We've seen this with bands after bands after bands that have come out of New York, and you look at all the bands that we love that come out of New York: Anthrax, Kiss, even Living Colour. I mean, they weren't truly Manhattan bands. I mean, maybe Living Colour was, I'm not sure, but they were more from the the outer boroughs. So there's this New York snobbery, there really is, when with music, and it very much leans against bands that are popular with the rest of the country, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'll end with this thought. I just wanted to cite this example: D-Generation, a band that I actually liked and would go see a lot back in the 90s. They put out one record, it was so-so. Then they put out another record that they re-recorded a couple of the songs and a bunch of new songs, and it was with Rick Ocasek, who at the time had just done Not a Surf and Weezer, and was kind of a hip producer, the guy from the Cars. He produced it. I think it was called No Lunch, and it was a decent record. It wasn't Radiohead to me. It wasn't Sgt. Pepper's to me. It wasn't Physical Graffiti, but it was a good record. When I say Radiohead, I'm specifically talking about OK Computer. It was a good record. But in New York, you would have thought these guys were the Rolling Stones. I mean, they were selling out CBGBs in the East Village, the little small neighborhood in New York. They were walking around like they were rock stars, and then my good friend John Astronomy and I, John Ostrowski, we were seeing him in New York all the time, and we saw they were playing in Newark. Now, Newark is in New Jersey, working class city, kind of down and out city, right across the way from New York City. And we decided to go see them in New Jersey. And again, they were sellouts, getting written up in Rolling Stone, selling out in New York City in the club scene. We went right across the river to Newark, 11 miles from Manhattan, and they had 6 people at the show. I swear on my life, if that, there was no one there. Studio One in Newark, and it made me realize at that moment in time that what's cool in Manhattan and the East Village and now probably Williamsburg is not a good representation of where the rest of the country is. And Degeneration was what, I mean, and Jesse Malin, you know, even to this day, he still's got this kind of cool vibe in the New York scene, but it doesn't, I don't think anyone really ever learned who this guy was. And it's a shame because he put out some great music. But I'm just saying, the New York music scene was never a true representation of the rest of the country. And that might be a good thing. Maybe people like that. I always felt alienated in the New York music scene, even though I brought people to shows, even maybe that's my own insecurity, but I was never the cool guy in the New York music scene. And yeah, cheers to that. Ramble Fest. Goodbye. Check me out on Bob Nalbandian's podcast, Skull Sessions.